Welcome back, everybody. Just last week, Israel's Minister of Strategic Affairs, Ron Dermer, visited Washington, D.C. to talk about a peace agreement between Saudi Arabia and Israel. Now, it was during these meetings where our Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, told Dermer that the Israeli government is misreading the situation if they don't think they needed to make any concessions to the Palestinians as part of the deal. Now, these conversations come as the 2024 campaign season is soon to be in full swing, and the Biden-Harris administration desperately needs a big foreign policy victory after their first 3 years of disastrous losses internationally. So joining us now to talk about the Biden-Harris game plan and the ongoing discussions and rise of anti-Semitism in America is the executive director of CASEPAC, Bryan Leib. Bryan, great to have you back on the show. Good to see you, my friend.
Thanks so much. Great to be back.
Yeah, good to have you.
I want to ask you about first of all, these conversations, but also the deal that could result in it, because as we were just joking before, not joking, it's sad, I guess, gallows humor, but as we were discussing before we came into this segment, the Biden administration really doesn't have any foreign policy victories. If they were able to muscle this deal, this would be a very lone feather in the foreign policy cap, but Bibi Netanyahu is also stuck between a very hard rock and a very, very hard place with regards to this deal going forward. What are your thoughts?
Well, the deal's not going to happen. The Biden administration continues to try and shove a square peg into a round hole over and over and over again, which is something career bureaucrats have done for many, many years in Washington, D.C. And it's never led to any type of peace deals or really any type of success or progress in the Middle East. It took political outsiders, it took President Trump and his administration to take a different approach to lasting peace in the Middle East, and that's exactly what they did through the Abraham Accords. Biden administration is really in for a rude awakening if they think they have any chance at playing any kind of a role in bringing Israel and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia together. And there's 2 points to make on that. One, the Biden administration, or I should say Joe Biden in particular, called the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia a pariah state. Second, Biden administration called Bibi Netanyahu's government extreme. So if the U.S. wants to play a role in bringing these two countries together, maybe they should treat both of these countries with the respect that they deserve, something that they have not been doing at all. So no, this deal is not going to happen. The U.S. can try and tell Israel what to do as much as they want. At the end of the day, Israel is a sovereign nation. They're our most trusted ally in the Middle East, and we've got to start treating them with the respect that they deserve.
Yeah, and you pointed out something I think a lot of people don't realize, but the amount of fraying between the United States and some of its traditional allies is at an all-time high. Saudi Arabia has been talking to China about changing currencies from the U.S. to the Chinese currency. There's a lot of different dynamics going on. It seems like all the things that Biden's done to this point make any sort of negotiation with our allies much tougher. What is the net effect? If you're sitting in Israel, if you're sitting in Saudi Arabia, are you just waiting Joe Biden out?
Well, I think these two countries have two options right now. One, they can do an end around on the Biden administration, and they can try and strike a peace or normalization agreement together, one-on-one, or they can look to some of their partners in the region, like the UAE or Bahrain, countries that have already made historic and lasting peace with the state of Israel. Secondarily, if that's something they don't want to do, they can wait it out, and they can wait to have President Trump back in the White House, because he's shown them before through the Abraham Accords that he's capable of bringing these types of countries together, making that lasting and historic peace. And most importantly, I think, when you're dealing with countries in the Middle East, whether it's Israel, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Morocco, these are countries that demand respect. And we should too, by the way. The United States of America, we should demand respect. But when we're not giving respect out on the world stage, we can't expect these other countries to return respect back to us.
Great point.
Yeah, absolutely. Bryan, I want to pivot to something that is equally as disturbing, the unfortunate resurgence and spike of anti-Semitism across America. Last time we had you on to talk about City University of New York and the commencement address delivered by Fatima Mohammed and the disgusting things that she had to say during that speech. And now it seems that they have one-upped themselves. They have hired Marc Lamont Hill, who got pink-slipped, I believe, from CNN for some disgusting remarks after and after which I think there were complaints by the Anti-Defamation League. But he is now going to be a professor there at City University of New York. What does it say that even in the face of backlash after that speech by Fatima Mohammed, that they're willing to just kind of like up the ante a little?
Well, it really makes you wonder, and makes you wonder, what type of donors are supporting these institutions, that institutions are able to get away with these things, whether it was Fatima Mohammed's speech, which, as we discussed, was pre-approved by the administration, or whether it's bringing in Marc Lamont Hill from my hometown of Philadelphia. Marc Lamont Hill is, in my opinion, probably the most anti-Israel professor in this country. He was the one that, after returning from a trip to Israel, spoke at the United Nations, and he said, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." He went on to then call for all United nations or countries, I should say, to launch a boycott and divestment of the state of Israel. Now, let's not mince our words here. When you utter the same slogans as Hamas and other terrorist groups, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," you're calling for the eradication of the state of Israel. You're calling for all of the Jews, Christians, and Muslims living inside of Israel that are Israeli citizens to be killed. That's exactly what these terrorist organizations want. And Marc Lamont Hill has had many occasions and opportunities to walk his comments back. He has not. Shame on CUNY for bringing him into the fold. I will tell you, I spoke with several members of Congress this morning in the New York congressional delegation. They are very upset about this. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see some congressional action at some point in the very near future to hold CUNY accountable. Anti-Semitism has no place in this country. It most certainly has no place on our college campuses.
Mark, we only got about 30 seconds left. Apartheid, you keep getting thrown at Israel. It's clearly very different. It's not what the situation was in South Africa 4 decades ago. How harmful is it to the cause of fighting anti-Semitism that it's so easily bantied about?
It's a bold-faced lie. When you look at Israel, there is no apartheid. There are Muslims that serve on the Supreme Court, that serve in the Knesset, that serve in the IDF, that chair banking institutions, financial institutions. There is no apartheid in the state of Israel. So thank you for setting the record straight. Maybe Marc Lamont Hill will get the notice sometime soon.
I don't think so. But we can always hope, right? Bryan, we appreciate you always coming on the show. Everybody go check out his foundation, Case Pack. It's a great organization. And on that note, we are off to a very quick commercial break, but we have a lot of news to break down, so we're going to do that on the other side of these messages.